Hey guys, I feel like I need like an intro. Like I don't have an intro. But what is up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you guys raw AF, as you can see, but coming to you guys raw because I feel like I'm always vlogging. I feel like I kind of want to just sit down and talk today. Like I have some food downstairs, so halfway through the video I'm probably gonna turn this into like a mukbang where I like talk and eat, but I just wanna, but you guys know I'm a little yapper. But today I'm going to be giving you guys some big sister advice, and my thoughts on things, certain topics and things like that. Not even big sister advice, but like I feel like to anyone, not even just girls, like just advice in general, because I just feel like yapping. And I've been watching these, like I love podcasts and stuff like that, and like I like listening to podcasts, so I feel like I just kind of want to do like a sit down tape video where I just, you know, I feel like I'm still very young, but I feel like I've lived quite a bit of life, and I just feel like I get wiser every day. But yeah, I just feel like this is on a whim. Honestly, I was just gonna vlog tomorrow, but I'm like, let me low-key do a sit down video because I feel like I have like one sit down video on here, and that's my makeup video, and I feel like I just never did one after that. I'm gonna be giving you guys some advice. I feel like it's more authentic, you know, when you didn't plan it out. So I didn't really plan this out. I was just chilling and I was like, why don't I just do a little quick video, like, you know? And this is all off rip. I'm literally putting you guys on some free game. I'm letting you into how my brain works and thinks about things and, you know, processes things. And honestly, like I'm gonna say, like even to get to this point, like you have to do a lot of like the inner work. But I feel like, you know, as you mature and stuff like that, like your brain only gets sharper. I would hope, but your brain only should get sharper. And I feel like I'm just kind of like, I feel like anybody can gain some sauce off this video, but I feel like so much people get so lost in the sauce, and like you need a goal and you need to lock in on it. I feel like it is so easy to get lost in the sauce, especially in this day and age, filled with energy vampires. It's so important for you to remember that all of this is an era and like a small portion of your life. Like I feel like it's super important just to stay locked in and just kind of know what you want out of life. I think everything matters, like who you talk to, who you befriend, who you choose to date, like every single thing matters. These are eras, but I feel like it shapes you into like who you're going to be, if that makes sense. So I feel like, you know, like, okay, number two, I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this, but this is just fun to me. Like I'm kind of just yapping, but I like videos like these. Like I would sit down and watch a video like this every day you wake up. I feel like, think of what your higher self is doing. I feel like it's so easy to get like burnt out and things like that, but I feel like how you win is through consistency. Like it's through the little things every day that you don't even like broadcast. Like I feel like you need to think of what your higher self is doing. I think it's, like I said, very easy to get lost in the sauce and kind of like, especially like I feel like in your 20s, like it's very easy to get caught up, but I feel like you need to always have your eye on the prize. You're gonna have your days where, you know, things don't go as planned, or like, you know, you didn't get to achieve this task you wanted to, whatever. But I feel like as long as you're aware of it and you make note of it, like, hey, I fell short today, like tomorrow I gotta, like, you know, fix that. Like, you know, that's even kind of how you just kind of train your brain. Like, okay, like feel like just the small thing of being mindful, things like what my higher self is doing. It's a nice thought to think even before you're about to do something, like decisions, like, you know, does this really align with who I'm trying to be or the person I'm trying to, like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like I also feel like you should have an image in your head of where you're trying to be, what you're trying to do, especially with decisions and things like that. I think it's really important to like think like, okay, does this align with my future self, or does this align with like the path I'm trying to go down, or you know what I'm trying to say. Like it's important to just be mindful. I feel like sometimes it's easy to get lost in the sauce and just live, I don't want to say without a purpose, but like it's easy just to like live kind of with no vision. Like I feel like I've learned the like beauty of swiftness. Like I feel like in life you need to move swiftly, and by swiftly I mean like when you realize something doesn't align with you or someone doesn't align with you, I feel like it's so important to get out of there and make that change. I feel like moving with swiftness and just acting on intuition. Obviously think about things, like I don't want to say like be like, you know, impulsive. But I think it's important to, like, when something doesn't feel right, trust your gut. And I feel like that's probably like a given, like trust your gut, but like no, actually trust your gut. I feel like nobody's going to know you more than you know yourself. Sometimes it's so easy to like second guess yourself and things like that, but I feel like genuinely nobody's going to ever know you more than you know yourself. But I feel like that's even just more of a, you know, like a urge to even trust yourself, because nobody is going to know you best. When something doesn't feel right to you, when something feels off to you, I feel like it's so important to get out of there and reroute. You can always reroute, always. I feel like that's the beauty of life. You can just choose on a random Tuesday to reroute. And you know, I feel like it's important to never feel stuck, never feel like you have to stay in something, never feel like you have to be somewhere. But I feel like this is something I've noticed within other people. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to kick it alone, or like just kind of like, you know, like go against the grain. Is that the right saying? I don't know, but like go against like the status quo. I feel like we live in a generation of follow the leader. I don't know what that's about, but I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid to kind of just do their own thing. Have a period where you do your own thing, because I feel like only then is when your tribe will find you. Like who is meant to be in your life will find you. I feel like when you're alone, not alone, but I feel like when you kind of focus on just staying true to who you are, being your most authentic self, I feel like that is when you attract what is meant for you, and what is not will find its way out. I feel like it is so important to just have a period where just to find yourself, especially in your 20s. I feel like your 20s is all about finding yourself, but I feel like you need a period to genuinely find yourself, and only then, I'm telling you, only then is when your tribe will find you. I'm telling you, you have to be willing. It's gonna be freezing, but you have to be willing to do your own thing, because I genuinely feel like authenticity, it attracts what's meant for you, but you also got to be able to discern. I feel like, because sometimes you might attract vampires, you know what I mean? So you got to be able to discern like what's for you, and that's why trusting your gut is amazing, because you got to be able to move swiftly. I feel like in another life, like I was genuinely a monk. Like I feel like a dying thing too in this generation is kindness. I feel like everybody is so mean to each other. You go online and people are giving the craziest think pieces on people they don't even know, and it's just like, I feel like social media is genuinely frying everybody's brains. Or like you'll see the craziest comments and it's just like dying, or it's very performative. Like, and I feel like kindness is one thing people remember. I feel like in general, how you treat people is something people will always remember. I feel like don't also be afraid to stand on business. Like I'm someone like, you know, I'm very reciprocal, like, but I don't say that to like be like a pushover, or like, you know what I'm trying to say, like a yes man, or like, but I feel like kindness, like I feel like it just doesn't take anything from anyone. Obviously when people deserve it, like give them that, but I feel like the internet is turning the world cruel as fuck, and I think everybody just needs to chill out. Because the one is relationships. I think relationships are beautiful. I think with the right person, relationships are great. I think it even exposes you to things you probably didn't even know about yourself, and exposes you. I feel like relationships are very exposing in a good and bad way. I feel like it exposes things you need to work on. I think it exposes your ability to love. I think it exposes your strengths, your weaknesses, things like that. I think relationships are very exposing, especially when you're very vulnerable. And I think relationships are just beautiful when you could just exist with the person. Like there's no kind of pressure kind of to like perform. I think we live in like a generation which is really ridiculous. Like we're like formative generation, and I think a lot of people are performers, and I just feel like it's beautiful when a relationship just exists because the two of you can just exist. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it just what's the word I'm looking for? Like you could just peacefully exist without the pressure of having to perform. I feel like those are the most beautiful relationships. I mean that in like platonic and romantic relationships. Like I think in general, just not having the pressure of, you know. And I think relationships are very important, honestly. Like I think you should actually value the relationships you have and cherish the great people you have in your life, because I feel like it's actually harder than you think to come by people you genuinely fuck with and people who genuinely fuck with you. But it's also sad when relationships end, like platonic and romantic relationships, but there's also beauty in that too. I feel like I feel like every relationship teaches you something. Platonic, romantic, whatever. It kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you just walk away a new person even if it doesn't work out. So that is the beauty. I feel like the fact that you're even hurt, or you're able to feel that hurt, and it just shows your ability to be vulnerable and love. So I feel like never stop loving. Yeah, I feel like the best relationships are the ones where no bullshit, like you could just exist with each other. Okay, I am back, but I wouldn't even say this is like an advice video. This is more so like a kind of let's talk video, because you guys know I'm a yapper at heart. Let me pose, and I'm gonna put the words like around, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm so awkward. I'm actually really not photogenic at all. Like, I cannot take pictures, so this is like really awkward actually. But yeah, let's get into this video. I even told you guys, I think before, that I had food and I was gonna turn this into like a mukbang, but I ended up eating the food and watching my show, and I didn't come back on camera. So this is like 3 days later from like whenever I started that video. And it was 1 a.m. when I started it. Right now it's like the day, so like I'm more like locked, you know what I mean? Not even all of this like I've been through. It's just that you kind of also like learn from other people too. Like, even in like social media, like it'll just such a fucked up place, but it like, I feel like it gives you so much insight onto like things you wouldn't even like think about. You have to obviously know when to like filter out certain things, like red pill content and stuff like that. Like, obviously, like in a healthy manner. Like, social media can be good because it's very like educational. I feel like I feel like you actually learn a lot about like everything though, but obviously you have to know when to like, you know, that's the problem with it. Like, just because it's coming out of a certain person's mouth, or like, you know, like, because somebody could just wake up and just say whatever they want to say, and you know, everyone's gonna run with it, or people are gonna run with it. So you just kind of have to know when to like, you know, you have that selective hearing when it comes to social media. Also have your own opinions. Social media is frying the world's brain. Like, nobody thinks for themselves. Yeah, before I start this, I am a nobody to you, so you should not take my opinions to the extreme, you know what I'm saying? Or like, even in general with anyone, when anyone comes and says their think piece, because at the end of the day, like, it's your life. But I'm going to give my think piece though, so you know, and I'm adding in probably the other part of this video. So if I have an outfit change, you know why. I feel like personally in your 20s, discernment is going to be your best friend. Like, on some real shit, like, discernment is going to be your best friend. And honestly, like, something not feeling right is that's a good enough answer. You don't need to explain anything to anybody. If something does not make sense to you, get the hell out of there, and get out of there quick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, yeah, take time to think about things, and like, don't be irrational, because I have that problem. I'm kind of impulsive. Like, when something, I'm just like, like, let me, like, you know. But sometimes it is good to think and like kind of like not weigh all your options, because you don't even have to really explain. But I think just even something not even feeling right is an answer in itself, and a good enough reason. And honestly, you don't really have to explain to anybody, and that refers to like anything, like any setting, any place. Like, you just gotta know when to pivot. I feel like people are sometimes really bad at pivoting, and I feel like your 20s, you just have to get super good at pivoting. Like, if something's not working out, you gotta like, okay, like, you know, you just gotta get super good at like not switching up the plan, but like, I feel like if something is not working out for you, you just have to know when to pivot, and kind of when to like get out of situations. And like, and honestly, I feel like time too, like, just because like you have discernment about something, I feel like, especially as girls especially, I feel like we have such good discernment, especially if you're like kind of in tune with yourself. I feel like the art of trusting yourself, like, you need to trust, and that that relates to everything. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, trust yourself. And I feel like I used to kind of have that problem too when I was younger though. I feel like kind of like just trusting my own, but like, I feel like as individuals, like, even that alone is kind of like disappearing. Like, I feel like there's not a lot of individualism because of social media, and I feel like a lot of people are not trusting their own taste, their own opinions, their own, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is different, but like, it's like I said, with social media, it's too easy to get swayed. Like, it's too easy. You can't get lost in the sauce. That is probably gonna be the whole theme of this video. Do not get lost in the sauce. Like, especially for your mental, like, do not get lost in the sauce. As a person in general, you have to be able to self-regulate and just ground yourself. Find things that are going to help you ground yourself, whether that's working out, kind of like you just have to find a way to ground yourself, be able to self-regulate. I think that's super important because you don't want to make stupid decisions out of, and I'm gonna be so honest, I am not perfect. I'm not like, you know, like saying like, oh, like I'm like, but like, yeah, everyone's human. Like obviously you're gonna have your moments where like, okay, like whatever, but you know, like I think it's really important to find a way to ground yourself. And yeah, whether that's the gym, listening to music, whatever, like I think everybody needs something to be able to ground themselves, I think. And I think that's really underrated actually. Like I think genuinely, like I am such an advocate for the gym. I feel like everybody should be going to the gym, like especially if you can, like if you can, that's a whole different thing, but I feel like especially if you can, you need to get in the gym. I think it's such an underrated thing for even your mental, like for me, what works for me is kind of like the gym. That's kind of like grounding for me. I feel like it's one, like I really value my alone time. I obviously love, like, you know, everybody I have in my life. I love all my relationships and everything like that, but I feel like it's so important to be able to sit by yourself and ground yourself. Like nobody is responsible for your self-regulation. Like you should never be relying on a person to self-regulate you, because that is where you're gonna go wrong. It's not their responsibility. It's yours. It's yours. That, like, your life is literally your responsibility. So I feel like you have to find something that's going to be able to ground you. For me, it's the gym. I've kind of been active since I was young. So me, I like the gym. I like music. I like kind of just doing my own thing. I kind of like, you know, you have to have balance. Friendships. I want to talk about friendships too. I think it is so important, especially if you care for that. If you don't care for that and you're someone who likes to like be like completely alone, you don't really value friendships, this is obviously not gonna like apply to like, you know, your life. But I think with what's it called, friendships, it is so important to be around like-minded people. Our parents used to say you are who you hang around. Like that was like and I used to even think I'm like, oh, like no, like, you know, whatever, like I'm different. Like, and as much as you might be different and have your own like individual personality and your own, like, it kind of low-key is true. Like you low-key kind of do become who you hang around. Like things will naturally rub off on you. That's how it kind of works, if that makes sense. Like especially if it's someone that you're like consistently hanging out with. Like I am someone, like I have very diverse friendships. I feel like all my friends, I feel like we all kind of like have different, obviously, perspectives and like opinions and things like that. But I think when it comes down to it, like the bottom line, like we all kind of low-key like have that mutual understanding and mutual respect. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important. Kind of finding people your morals align, your, you know, and obviously like friendships don't always work out, but that is the point of friendships. I think who is meant to stay in your life is going to stay in your life, and who's not meant to is going to leave. But life is like that. Like it's, and that's the beauty in it. And I feel like every friendship, romantic relationship, whatever, teaches you something about yourself too. And one thing that like contributes to that is being direct. I'm a very direct person. I actually value directness. I feel like I hate beating around the bush, or like kind of not even beating around the bush, but like I feel like I'm a very direct person, and I value directness, if that makes sense. So I feel like for me at least, that's really important in my friendships, and kind of like just keeping it real. For example, if someone does something to you and you don't say anything, that kind of builds resentment. You will slowly build resentment towards your friend, and then one day you just won't be able to, you know, like you're low-key building a Rico. And I just feel like if you're actually friends, you shouldn't even be building a Rico, and you should be able to, you know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like I have a very authentic approach to my friendships. Like I feel like you will know, especially with me, I feel like you will know exactly how I feel about you because I will tell you. And I feel like I would want that same thing in return. In general, I think it's super important to keep it real with your friends. Like just honestly, like honesty, like just keep it real with people. Like I feel like it's so easy. But yeah, I feel like just keep it real with people, and you know, people might appreciate that, they might not, but obviously like in a, you know, obviously in a controlled way. Yeah, like keep it real. Like if somebody offended you, like don't be afraid to say that. Like we're all human at the end of the day, and I think nobody is above correction or an apology, or you know what I mean? So I think having like a laid back approach to friendships is what makes it work. I'm telling you, like I genuinely feel like not putting pressure on, like, I'm telling you, when you can find friends that you can just exist with, it's beautiful. Those are the most beautiful relationships, because there's no pressure to kind of like, you know what I mean? And especially when you're honest, like you just know the vibe, and that even builds chemistry. And I feel like that type of approach, like it makes bonds very strong. Like, so you just know you guys are both on the same page, you know what I mean? So I think those are the most beautiful relationships, honestly. And I love relationships like that, where you could just exist and you know what's going on. You're not like kind of in the dark, or like, you know what I mean? And I think that is real friendship. Let me see. I actually remember I did a video like last year, I think, and someone was like asking me like how I have like the confidence to like upload and stuff like that. And I personally think, in the most real way, like that's a you thing. Like you can't really buy confidence, or like kind of like how you feel about yourself. That's like a thing you have to do the inner work for, if that makes sense. Like you have to love yourself so much that like the opinion of someone else, or even if you don't know the opinion, even the thought that someone might have an opinion, genuinely like does not faze you, because you genuinely like know who you are as a person, if that makes sense. Like it's easier said than done, probably, but I feel like I've always had this mindset, like especially if you like yourself, that shouldn't be an issue. Like it's easier said than done, obviously, and obviously a lot of people struggle with like confidence and stuff like that, and just kind of, even like I feel like that's a you thing completely. Like you can't, confidence has nothing to do with like other people, or like kind of like, you know what I mean? You kind of just have to get into this like monk mindset. I don't know how to explain it. I actually don't know how to explain it, but like you kind of just genuinely have to be so I don't want to use the word that I'm trying to explain, confident in yourself, but like you kind of do, like I think it's just genuinely like believing in yourself. I'm not gonna lie, not even believing in yourself, but just comfortable with yourself. Like, and that's why I think being alone is so important at certain times. Obviously, like don't isolate yourself, but utilize alone time. I think that's when you learn the most about yourself in general. I think when I love solo dates. I love solo dates. I haven't done one in a while, but I actually love solo dates. You need to be able to do your own thing comfortably and know what you like and know what you don't like. I feel like that is how you build confidence. Also, you have to show up for yourself. Like, okay, I had to change my battery because it died, but be able to trust yourself. You have to be able to do the things that you said you were gonna do. I think that is key. First of all, for the gym, like if you said you were going to go to the gym in the morning, go to the gym in the morning, especially if you can. Like if you're not in pain, if you're not sick, go to the gym. Do the things that you said you were going to do for yourself, because that is how you build self-trust, you know what I mean? And that's how you, I think even too, it's also something that kind of comes with age. Confidence, I do kind of feel like I've always been like this in a sense, but I think it's only getting more, what's the word, like, but it's only getting more, I think I'm just becoming like a more evolved version of myself, if that makes sense. Like I think I've kind of always known what I like, what I don't like, but through experiences and things like that, like I'm learning to kind of like trust myself more. And I feel like, especially as girls, and especially if you're like in tune with yourself, I feel like our intuition is crazy. Like I feel like girls like have like, but obviously take that with a grain of salt, because sometimes you could just be overthinking things. Like I don't want to like put that out there, like just because you think this, like that's exactly what's going on. Like that's not even the case. But obviously like certain things, like I think it's very situational. Like I said before, like if you're in a place that doesn't feel right, like leave, you know what I mean? Like things like that. But obviously like intuition is situational, because you could be overthinking, and that happens a lot too. Women overthink. I think that's just men overthink too. Everybody overthinks. But yeah, I think you just need to be able to also know when you're overthinking, or like know when like you're just doing a little bit too much, you know what I mean? So like I said, stay grounded. This is how I think, and this is what has, you know, this is how I'm kind of evolving into the person I'm meant to be by this way of thinking. So yeah, getting back to the, that's how you build trust, is showing up for yourself. I also feel like doing the boring stuff is so important. Like doing the little stuff. I'm so keen on productivity. I feel like I'm someone like, I love to be productive, and if I'm not, like I have this one friend, and I remember last week I wasn't really doing much. Like I'm not too sure why. Like I just wasn't really doing much, and I remember she was like, you're very hard on yourself, which I am. I think I'm someone who's very hard on myself. Like if I'm not doing something all the time, or like not doing something like productive, it kind of like affects me mentally, because I'm like, but honestly I feel like it's the culture of the world right now too though. Like I think everyone's very much in that like workaholic mode, but sometimes you do need to, obviously I don't want to encourage like, I feel like hustle culture right now is like at an all-time high. Like I feel like everybody kind of, you know, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like if I'm not doing something productive, that kind of like gets to me. Not gets to me, but I like to always be doing something, like, you know. So I feel like being able to, you low-key do need to be doing something, but at the same time, like, prioritize rest. And like rest is so important too. Like I don't want to, like, you know, I don't want to breeze over that or like kind of even ignore that. Like you have to rest, like you have to, but at the same time showing up for yourself and doing the boring things, like consistency will take you so far. Like I genuinely believe that. Like, and that relates to anything, even the smallest factors of your life. Like I think genuinely just showing up will actually change your life. Like every day you do not need to put in 100%, but I think, and that's even how, like, you know, like whatever it is you want, success, wealth, you know, whatever it is you want, wealth, success, what else, you know, things of that nature, whatever you want, you know what I'm trying to say. Like it's not gonna be linear. It's not gonna be like a linear path. I think every day is gonna look completely different. Some days it's gonna look like you put in 0%, and tomorrow might make up for that 0% and you might have put in 75. So I feel like with this like hustle culture kind of world we live in, I feel like it's so important to take it easy on yourself. And I actually need to take my own advice because I'm very hard on myself. I feel like I'm like someone who's very like, and I've always kind of been like that since I was young. I hate, like, now I've just kind of learned, like, you know, obviously as you get older, like you kind of just also to like learn yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with kind of wanting to show up every day and like kind of like wanting to go hard every day, but I think one thing I've learned with myself is that like rest is not, you know what I mean? Like rest is also part of the journey. Like you actually do need to rest. And I think another way to look at it is just discipline. Like I've always been like that since I was young. So I feel like I've kind of learned that like I just really value discipline, and I value kind of like being able to stay on track, and not only stay on track, but just kind of being able to do what I said I was gonna do. So that's kind of for me, in order for my mental not to be like thrown off, or like I need to show up sometimes, but you do need to prioritize rest. And that's something I've actually also been learning. Like I've been learning, like I don't need to feel guilty for laying down sometimes, like, but I think it's so important to not take things personal. That's one thing I've learned too. Like I feel like when things, like a lot of things, like I feel like because it's happening to you, you think it's so important and so, what's the word, like personal. And sometimes honestly things probably are personal. Sometimes I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, like, you know, because so and so happened, like it's not personal. Sometimes things are personal. Sometimes people are actually weird, but you know, situational, obviously. Like, so like sometimes you can't take things personal. Sometimes people will project whatever onto you. Sometimes people will project their biases onto you, how they think and how they, you know, things register to them. Sometimes people will project their shortcomings onto you. Sometimes what people will project, like people do that. You just have to, you know, you just kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt. Like it sounds fucked up. Like I don't want to say like don't care, obviously, but like, and it's not even like an acting thing. Like it's genuinely like, oh, okay, because what are you supposed to say to that? Like genuinely, like what are you supposed to say when someone's projecting onto you? You know what I mean? So that's kind of one thing I've learned. Like you just kind of like peep it and you're just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? If that's what you think is happening. But sometimes people aren't projecting onto you. Not everything is kind of an attack, like a personal attack. Sometimes it's genuinely just someone, could be them just projecting. Or sometimes people didn't think. Like sometimes people speak and they don't think. Like not everything is kind of, and also too, you taking certain things personal could also be a projection of how you think. When you're kind of like communicating with people, you kind of just have to take all that into account. Like how you think, how they might think, how, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what to say. Just don't take things personal in general. Like, because you just genuinely never know. You don't even know if you're taking it personal because you think a certain way and they think a certain way. I think it makes sense if you know what I'm trying to say? Like if, but also too, I don't want to say don't take things personal, because sometimes people know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So like everything I'm saying, take it into account, but like also situational. Like I said, everything is situational. Hey, another thing I want to emphasize, no matter what you believe in, or if you don't believe in anything, I think it is genuinely in your best interest to think in the sense that everything is always working out for your greatest good. Me personally, I believe that, especially when like things don't go as I had planned, like I just feel like you need to understand to trust, you need to trust God. And if that's not even what you believe in, you need to trust whatever you believe in, the universe, and sometimes just even trust in yourself, like that you are making the right choices, that you are being guided by whoever, whatever. Me personally, I think I'm being guided by God to make the right choices. And I think everybody on this earth has a purpose. Everything is happening in your favor when you think, and that even the things that go wrong are happening in your favor. You didn't get that job that you wanted, it's for a reason. Like, it could have been somebody in that place that, you know, might have altered the way the rest of your life would have went. You know what I'm trying to say? So you need to take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I'm so keen on believing that you will always end up where you're meant to be. You will always meet who you're meant to meet. Like, I genuinely actually believe that. Also too, like, even if you don't believe that, it's just a good mindset to have, I feel like, because it's too easy to lose or get so invested in things that are going wrong and da-da-da-da. You just have to keep going. Like, you just have to keep going. That's what it is. Like, being alone on purpose, you learn yourself too well. Like, you study yourself just too well. Like, I genuinely believe alone time, like, everybody needs that. Like, that's not even something to like romanticize or like, I genuinely think like it's not even a trend. Like, you actually need to be alone for periods of time to understand yourself. You need to be okay with sitting by yourself and just kind of thinking about, like, you know what I mean? And not even only thinking, but just like, I feel like it's beautiful being alone, because you're not influenced by who thinks this way and what. And by being alone, I mean, like, even off of your phone, like, you need to kind of find, like I said, a hobby or something that kind of just takes you out of, like, and just brings you back to real life. Like, I think like a lot of us, like, I think social media is actually turning the world into some like distorted reality. Like, I think everybody is kind of low-key, a lot of people are low-key turning crazy from it. I'm not gonna lie. I think reality is just being distorted because of social media. So like, I don't know, like, even when you see sometimes the think pieces that people have, it's like, you don't even know these people. Like, it gets crazy. It's gotten so bad to the point, like, where like any red pill content, like, I'm actually pressing not interested. Like, I actually don't even want to hear it. Like, I feel like it's so easy because people can sound so convincing. So it's so easy, especially if you don't have your own opinions already. Like, it's so easy for your opinion to get swayed or kind of like, you know what I mean? And it builds, like, kind of like, even breaks that trust that you have with yourself. I feel like now you're kind of taking into account, like, it's just too much sometimes. Like, I just feel like even this video might just be too much for you. Like, I'm telling you, like, you need to actually genuinely, like, and this is coming from like an unbiased like perspective. Like, social media can be good, but you need to know, like, when, like, okay, low-key, like, this is kind of like low-key frying my brain or like changing the way I, like, you know what I mean? And it's so, you actually see it in real life, like, it actually like changing the way people like think. There is so much beauty in not taking things so serious. Like, obviously, yes, like, don't like just destroy your life because you don't want to take things serious. And by destroy your life, I mean like not doing the things you want to do because, you know, like, I have tomorrow. Like, obviously put in the work, but when I say don't take things too serious, it's like, you know, like, and I'm even learning this with myself, like, if something doesn't go as planned, don't take it too serious. Like, nothing is ever that deep. That's one thing I've learned too. Like, nothing is ever that deep, you know? And I feel like as you get older, you kind of just even realize that too. Like, nothing is ever that deep, and that also builds your emotional control. It's so important to remember you can actually always try again. Like, you can try again, and with anything, like, and that's just the beauty of life. Like, you can actually never stop trying again. It might feel like you're stuck, but like, you could actually genuinely try again. Like, you know what I mean? So everyone has their own opinions, you know, but I think this is my version of wisdom. Believing in yourself. Believing in yourself is some shit you cannot buy. You can buy anything. You could buy a new body, you could buy, you know, some hair, you could buy some eyelashes, you could buy some, you know what I mean? And that's not even to hate, because clearly, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could buy everything, but you cannot buy believing in yourself. And that is with anything. Like, you can tell, obviously, like, everyone has moments of like when they're like, okay, like, you know, second guessing themselves, whatever, but I feel like, and this goes back to trusting yourself, and the only way you can learn to trust yourself is spending time alone. I'm telling you, it all leads down to spending some time alone. I'm telling you, that's when you learn yourself the most. I'm telling you, like, I actually genuinely believe that. You don't obviously need to, but I think being able to spend time alone, like, it's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, I feel like believing in yourself is something you cannot buy, and that comes with anything you want to do in life. You need to be able to believe in yourself. You can tell when someone doesn't believe in themselves. Like, you can low-key see it. You can low-key see it. Obviously some people are good at, like, you know, masking, you know, but that's ego. Like, you can also tell ego, I feel like sometimes it's like, I genuinely feel like confidence is something you don't have to overcompensate with. And I feel like a lot of people overcompensate their insecurities with ego. Confidence is healthy. I feel like confidence is healthy, and it's not like flashy or like flamboyant, you know what I mean? Like, ego will have somebody overcompensating, kind of. I think ego is like an overcompensation of like something. Yeah, you need to be able to believe in yourself, but genuinely, like, you need to genuinely be able to believe in yourself, like, not kind of through, you know, like, not through ego. Like, you actually genuinely need to think about what you want, think about, you know what I mean, and be able to, like, yeah. And honestly, like, that comes from, again, like, sitting with yourself and learning yourself, because once you know and you're so rooted in yourself, you know that no matter who, what, or when, whatever happens, like, you know who you are. Like, you know who you are. Like, you're confident enough to be able to stand by yourself. You need to be able to stand by yourself, because at any given moment, like, and like, I'm not even saying, like, you know, like, don't trust your friends, whatever, or don't trust your man or whatever, or don't trust your girlfriend, whatever, but people can switch up. Like, that happens. Like, you know what I mean? Cannot, like, allow those types of things to throw you off your rhythm. I'm telling you, like, even too, sometimes, like, people even know what they're doing and they purposely try to, like, fuck with your mojo to, like, you know what I mean? I'm very keen on, like, I'm somebody, like, I've actually even made a tweet about this. I be on my Twitter, like, I used to say all the time, like, if you fuck with my mojo, you gotta go. I don't even want to be swearing like that, but, like, genuinely, I feel like if people are fucking with your mojo, or, like, kind of, like, you can't let the energies of other people throw you off your game, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's very easy too, especially if, you know, like, that's why I say don't take things so personal, because if you do, like, because somebody did something, it can completely ruin your whole day, you know what I mean? And that's okay to have your day ruined and take some time and, like, you know, recoup and be like, okay, low-key, that, like, pissed me off, whatever, but you have to get out of that. Like, you can't stay there. You have to, like, you know, okay, like, whatever, that happened, and just, you know what I mean, and let things be. You have to be good at letting things be. What's meant for you will find you. What's not meant for you will leave on its own. Hey guys, okay, so I don't think I ended off the video properly because I had to go out. So this is me ending off the video. Thank you guys so much for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I actually went to Sephora, in case you guys care, even though this isn't a vlog, but I'm gonna let you know what I just went to go do. I went to Sephora to go switch. Again, if you watched my last video, you know I was on the hunt to find a good foundation, and I think I finally found a this isn't even a foundation though, this is a skin tint, but it looks really good and I love the finish. But that's not the point of the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, make sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.